Oh man, let's see. Has Jacob met his match yet? All right, a professional pianist, like a professional concert pianist, is next. I can't wait to hear what Jacob teaches him.
One nice emotional.
Oh no. He's like, have you ever heard of the circle of fifths before?
You know, it can be so sparse, it can be so rich, and it can be really emotional.
Oh, dude, he looks at Jacob. He's just like, I'm just looking down on you. So do you want lessons, or what is this? Surely you're not giving me a lesson, right? That's not what this is.
This idea of the overtone and undertone in the harmonic series, how much do you know about this?
Only until I started listening to singing, like barbershop quartet, and as
oh, dude, this guy's locked and loaded. Oh, let me tell you about the overtone series. Like, we're gonna talk about barbershop quartet now. They're so in tune, the in-tuneness. Dude, he's gonna look at Jacob Collier's technique and be like, "Yo, that technique is trash. I'm a professional pianist. I don't like your technique, bro."
Then I finally understood the idea where the overtone series came from. That if a bunch of singers were to
really, you didn't just watch that Bernstein lecture where he did the overtone thing? I did that in one of my videos recently. You guys want to hear it now? This note. Hear it there? There's the next one. There's the next one. That's the major third. It's a G sharp and it's a little flat from this G sharp. That's why you tune it down a little bit. And it's more in tune now. Okay, so this guy's locked and loaded with his answers. Just like, yes, I know about the overtone series and I've studied it extensively. Do not try to teach me about the overtone series right now.
A chord or have it perfectly tuned, the overtones, you would hear a tone that necessarily wasn't being produced by one of the singers.
The amazing thing about harmony is that it exists in nature.
It does exist in nature, as in like it's a natural phenomenon, but it doesn't really happen outside of like man-made objects. Like maybe there's like an instance where like a hollowed out tree had like wind blowing through it, producing like a clean tone. Other than like voices and stuff, an actual pitch is pretty rare in nature. I know that's not what he's saying. He's saying that it's just like a natural phenomenon, but I'm just pointing out the very obvious thing.
F, for example. Okay. You have the
dude, we're just all about F here.
Octave, and then the fifth, then the fourth, and then the. But that's a little bit sharp, but that's fine.
Actually, I stopped at the major third. So we have this one, that one, that one, this one. Unlike on your stupid little keyboard, Jacob, on an instrument like this, I can actually hear all the harmonics. I think it's easier to hear them if you go Ponticello. Hear it in there? It's really quiet. And then this is the next octave, I think. Yeah. And then we kind of lose them. Pretty cool. You heard Jacob having to play like two notes at once to kind of get like the flatness of like the flat seven over there. Here they're off. Guitar is superior. That's all I'm saying.
You have the undertone series, which essentially is like
the undertone series isn't a real thing. That's not a physical phenomenon. It's like theoretical. It's the same thing, but just like going on the other side of the note. Like it's mirrored basically. So you have the overtone series, which is a real thing, and then you mirror it on the other side, and that's not a real thing. It's a made-up thing, like a lot of things. That doesn't mean it doesn't have merit. I'm just making that distinction.
Reflection of something in the same way that when a tree grows in nature, you have the branches which go upwards and the roots which go downwards.
No, not quite, because the branches and the roots both exist. In this case, only the branches exist, and then we're just sort of mirroring the branches to make the roots, and the roots aren't actually there. That's all I'm saying.
So it's quite a nice thing to think about this being the key center, the floor, the ground, and then these two different directions of ways in which it can express itself and the differences in the sensations with that. Lots of the time, I think when it comes to reharmonization or harmonization, people think that the solution to the problems come when we add more notes.
Is that not? Well, I thought, what did I learn in lessons 1 through 3? Oh my god, okay. There's a nuance to this. All right, let's get into it.
Yeah. I think that people forget that you can work with the notes you already have by just rearranging them. Just the simple idea of inversion of the simple triad.
I'm familiar. I'm a professional pianist. I'm familiar with inversions.
Of F major. So I was lost and now I'm found, but now
Again, like, that's cool. Like, it sounds groovy to me, but, like, I like that kind of stuff. Is there really a difference between that and just hitting random notes, though? That's what I want to know. I don't think there is, because I feel like I can play stuff that kind of sounds like... It's just the beauty of placing down major 7 chords and other extensions of a major triad and then just changing the bass note and planing it around, which is just when you move the chord around. Hey, if you want to make people think that you're a genius, take a major chord, plane it around, and then change the inversion. Just go from like the root to the 5th. Like change key a whole bunch, move around notes. I feel that it's so easy to get crazy chaos like that, and it kind of doesn't matter how you even get the chaos.
One thing that I was very joyful to discover is that every single melody note works with every single bass note.
Facts. I'm glad that you're brave enough to say that, because that is facts.
So,
You want to demonstrate that?
yeah. So this is the note F.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
F major, F minor, G flat major 7, G flat diminished.
Like, what's your definition of works, though, you know? Like, you can confidently play anything over anything. Like, hey, this note right here, that works with this chord. It works with that chord. It works with this chord. It works with this. It works with that. It works with this. It works with this. It works with this. It works with this. It works with that. It works with that. It works with this. It works with that. It works with this. Yeah, like, it does. It does if you're, like, open to it working. Anything works if you're open to it working. But, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't really know what to make of that. It sounds cool. I like it.
G flat minor major 7, G minor 7, G sus, G7,
Sussy.
G7 sharp 11, and then G7 with a flat.
Come on, man. You've heard chords before. Don't act like this. Oh, dude, I'm being such a douche right now. And out of the 3 of us, like, I'm by far the worst, I know. And I'm being so cynical about it. All chords work over all notes, and all notes work over all chords. If you're open to them working, and you don't even have to resolve them. That's the beauty. I'll even go further than him in that. Don't even resolve stuff. You don't have to. Everything sounds good. Especially if you spread it out over a piano. Oh, man. You can't make anything sound bad. I have a theory that you can't actually make anything sound bad on piano.
But what about negative harmony, the dark side?
So essentially,
Thanks, man. You're being a real team player asking about that.
the way I'd apply negative harmony would be this idea of polarity, you know, between the undertone series and the overtone series, or, you know, the one side and the other side, the perfect and the plagal. The feeling of a minor plagal cadence resolving is so moving, you know, and it's a good alternative to something like.
It's funny, you know, you doing that makes something in a major key sound like kind of a wistful, sad song.
Right.
You know, you change the feeling of what otherwise would, you know, if you would tell a kid this is a major song, you should be happy.
Major bias, major bias. Major and minor, it is all just, like, learned that we feel certain ways about those. I feel like if you're going to write a sad song, major is a really great starting place. I think one of the saddest chord progressions is when you're in major, C major, and then you drop down to the 3rd.
No, for sure. And you know, F major can be something you arrive in from, if you arrive in F major.
I'm sorry, I feel like I need to address this. I don't mean to be like a negative Nancy here. And I'm not trying to claim that I know any more than Jacob Collier. Or Jacob Collier literally knows more than everything I've ever learned. Times 100. Times 1,000. He could probably learn my fugue in like a day and play it better than me. I'm sure he could. Because he's the man. I am just talking crap, and that is it. And I'm extremely jealous. I'm very, very jealous. Because he gets to make art, and I get to play other people's music. Yeah. How about that? So, you know, like, go ahead and comment all that, sure, but I'm just addressing the comments right now. Herbie Hancock. This is it, right here.
A lot of people will see you as somebody who's drank in
Oh, Herbie would not show up if they did not give him a Korg. There's no way.
harmony their whole life. They've seen so much harmony, heard so much harmony. How do you make the choices? There's so much that's possible when you know stuff.
Oh, dude, facts. Like, not that I would know, but yeah, I could only imagine.
How do you have the courage to make a choice?
It comes from just your life experience.
Does it? What, like, the music classes you take? I guess that is life experience. Sorry, I'm all right.
And that moves you in a certain direction. How it gets expressed many times is a complete surprise.
Yeah.
And this is the main point that I wanted to get at right here. This is actually a real thing between the classical and jazz world. The classical world looks at jazz people as if they're like dirty little like creatures that play their simple little music. And there's some truth to that, mind you. I'm just kidding. I love jazz. I've spent like a few years studying jazz myself, so I've immersed myself in the culture. And then on the other side, the jazz musicians look at classical people as these sort of like stuffy little, like all they can do is play their music, and you take their music away from them and they're like nothing after that. They're not even musicians. They're just button pushers, or they're just playing like these very particular like things on their instrument, and it always comes out the same every time. And there's truth to that too. We are sometimes those things, but there are aspects of both that I think both sides would benefit from. I'm just sort of picking up on that attitude a little bit, because we have Jacob Collier, young boy prodigy, Jacob, and he was a prodigy. I think he is still. I don't know how old he is, but he's literally talking to a professional like 40-something-year-old classical pianist, just a careered pianist, like somebody, like not many people reach that level of proficiency on piano, but that guy did. And Jacob is talking to him as if he's like a student, like telling me like, so the undertone series, and the classical pianist is sort of forced to just sit there and like bear it, just be like, yeah, like you realize that like we're equal / I have learned way more music than you. Like I am a very serious musician, like just as serious as you are, and I've been alive for like twice as long. Like I could be your teacher, like if you wanted to learn like classical piano, just as you could be my teacher to learn jazz piano, but there needs to be this level of respect, right? Or else it's just a little weird. Not saying that they were having that, it's just like my own like weird ego interpretation of things. And then when they get Herbie Hancock, the decorated jazz pianist, he suddenly gets his own piano, he gets to actually interact with the music. I don't know, I just I could see the roles being reversed, like if we got like a Yusha Wong like teaching 5 concepts, and then like it's a jazz pianist number 4, and then just like another famous classical pianist on number 5, and it would be sort of the same thing, just like, all right, we got the jazz guy out of the way, let's get to the actual piano now. There is this like friction between the two worlds, I find, and it's kind of interesting. Not that I saw it here, but who's to say Herbie is number 5 and the professional pianist, classical pianist, is number 4? I don't know, like what's the difference really? Like Herbie's older, okay, they're both like top level. Like I don't know, like what's the difference?
And there was something you once taught me. You taught me this song called Don't Follow the Crowd.
Oh, yeah.
And there's that chord. It's not a dominant chord, but it functions as a dominant chord. But it doesn't matter because
What is it? What chord is
you're
it?
still going to the place you're going to.
Right.
It's something
Yeah, Herbie's just like, I just put a chord down, I don't know. Was that not a dominant chord?
like
Right.
yeah. So this chord being like a major 7 with a
Right.
sharp 5 and a natural 9. Like there's no dominant thing.
Right.
But at that moment,
Well, let's not no dominant thing. I don't know. Like I'm not gonna let him finish or anything. Hold on. If you add in like wacky notes like sharp 5, there's gonna be natural tension and tendency with a note like that. So it's not technically a dominant chord, but it's right above another note, and it's acting as a leading tone going to that note. So it is kind of like a dominant chord. But that's why I prefer to look at chords more for function rather than like what they actually are. I determine them by like where the notes are actually going. You know, like I would look at a chord like, all right, so a major with a sharp 5. I mean, that could very well lead to like C major. It could lead to E major. Right? It can go there. Like, it doesn't have to be a dominant chord to have dominant function. If you introduce crunchy intervals that are like in between some notes, they'll want to resolve to other notes. Usual rule, like if you want to go somewhere, play a half step below where you want to go, or a half step above. All right, that's it.
coming from here, and I want to forge some solution. I get myself in a situation. Yeah.
Right.
And then that haunted me for days. Because, you know, I just wouldn't think to use that chord in that situation.
Yeah.
And there it was. And yeah, you know, if you read the rule book, that's not in it.
Well, I mean, what rule book? Maybe I'm not familiar with these rule books. Like, we're looking at Fuchs, like, Gratis ad Parnassium. Maybe that's not in there. But I feel like it kind of is. Like, a lot of harmonies that you'd learn from, like, classical, like, if you take, like, the Neapolitan 6, German, Italian, and French augmented 6. Get rid of the whole idea of the 6, which is like this that needs to be in first inversion for like proper voice leading. And just don't worry about that. Sort of put the notes close together. like, you can pretty much hit everything. Like, that stuff with, like, chromatic medians, I don't know what else, like, just approaching stuff from, like, half step above or below, and then just take all that and, like, ignore voice leadings that you would learn in, like, your classical theory classes, and you pretty much have, like, a lot of harmony. You can just play anything. Like, anything works, in my opinion. And if you look at any one rule book, if it's classical or jazz or whatever, you'll find that things get pretty wacky and crazy the further that you get. And if you sort of just break some rules later on once learning the fundamentals of that, you can play anything. And, like, they become almost interchangeable, or if you took all the rules from the classical book and just, like, swing it, it basically sounds like the jazz book now. I don't know, like, for example, here's some Bach. Bach, right? Just swing it. Just kind of sounds like slowed down Charlie Parker. And I don't mean to come off as too cynical either, because it is a wonderful, beautiful thing to be excited by harmony. I guess I just always seem to encounter this idea of, like, getting schooling and this sort of thing is, like, a little oppressive, like the rule book. Like, I'm just, like, going off on that. Like, I've seen it from a bunch of people where it's like it kills, like, creativity. And I don't think that's true at all. Like, it's sort of the same thing with, like, learning how to write, like, a story. That would always happen, like, in high school. Like, you're assigned parameters for a story, and you're expected to write in the parameters in order to receive a good grade. And then when you leave the parameters and, like, do your own thing, you're punished for it. And they're like, oh, they're killing creativity. Yeah, maybe, but what's stopping you from just writing another story with your own parameters after writing it? Because now you're just learning how to write, like, a quintessential story. That's not killing your creativity. That's giving you a framework to build off of, so you can actually make some good art. Like, not just, like, random art that you're just making, like, first try, but, like, well-developed good art based on something. And I'm saying good art, like, of course, like, it's so, like, what is good art? I know. It's cool when you make art and you know how to make it resonate with people and make it, like, unique to you. I don't think that, like, learning rules and stuff is gonna hurt that. I think it's only gonna help that, because it actually shows you, like, maybe what you do and don't like about the rules. And you'll keep stuff that you like. And people who also know the rules will hear that and be like, oh, this person knows what's up. I'm not knocking on him for being excited about, like, digging into, like, new harmonies and stuff, because that's a very beautiful thing. And I know that when that happens to me, it is a very lovely life when you're, like, excited about harmony. So I'm definitely not knocking that. Just the rule book thing. That's it.
I had a really great experience when I was working with Miles Davis. I felt like I was in a rut, playing the same stuff, and I was getting depressed because of it. And Miles said something to me. I thought he said, don't play the butter notes, right? And so I thought, what do you mean by that?
So you thought he said butter?
Butter notes,
And he said
right.
bottom, but you thought he said butter?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so
Don't play the bottom notes. Oh, wow.
I started thinking, okay, what could butter be? What is butter? Then I started thinking, what are the obvious notes, for example, in a chord? The obvious notes are the third and the seventh.
Facts.
So I said, oh, maybe if I leave those out. Changed everything for me from that moment on. Yeah. I got
Really? Wow.
more applause for that solo than I did the whole week.
You know, I have something not, like, nearly as glorious as that, but a lot of you might be dealing with this too. One of my friends told me to do this because I was just, like, playing guitar. Like, not classical stuff, like, it's just noodling. And he just, like, got frustrated with me one day. He was like, like, can you go a week without playing seventh chords? Like, just leave the seventh out. And I was like, like, maybe? And I did that, like, just with the major and minor chords. That opened up a lot of new voicings to me. So maybe you guys need to hear that. Stop playing seventh chords for a week and just see how it feels. I don't know.
If that had not happened.
That's amazing. I've been using this tune Amazing Grace.
Oh, right.
And so
Which one? I don't quite know that
a bit
one.
of that if you want to. And
Okay.
we could talk about some stuff. I've been doing an F.
All right, let's see what they got. Yeah. Okay, let's see where it goes. let's go over that a little bit. I appreciated that because it seemed like Jacob was just kind of having fun and just playing and just kind of adding in stuff to Amazing Grace. I could see a lot of people hating that performance. I could see a lot of people liking that performance. Jacob's expression in that performance, I think, was like a 10 out of 10, but it felt like a very like inwardly expressive thing where it was just Jacob having fun with himself and we were just sort of watching him. That was not a performance of Amazing Grace where you're trying to get me like understand and sort of participate mentally with what you're doing, giving me stuff to like chew on and stuff. It was very just like, I don't know, like it just kind of reminded me when I just sort of play random notes, which is a vibe. Like I like doing that. Like, it just sort of felt like that. As far as, like, an accessible performance goes, though, like, that's not how I would do it. Like, if you were hired to, like, play a jazz gig somewhere. Like, if you were doing, like, a Jacob Collier performance, then obviously you could play it like that, because it's your performance. You do what you want to do. If I heard that at a restaurant, I'd be like, I wish they would kind of, you know, like, get in it a little bit. Like, I want to hear the pulse and, like I want to hear some jazz right now. Like, obviously, I think there's artistic merit to that, too, because that was just expression, which is cool. I like doing that. That's, like, I play stuff like that, like, for fun, like what I was just doing there. It's fun to do that. It's fun to just sort of, like, explore notes on your instrument. I wouldn't expect other people to listen to it, though. Yeah, you know, I mean, that was cool. Oh my god, I've been filming this for an hour and 44 minutes. That was a 15-minute video. I have to start picking shorter videos, guys. That was insane. Well, hopefully this is a 3-parter, I guess. Alright, I think we should wrap it up here. But I mean, in conclusion, like, I massively respect, like, everyone past level 3. I don't respect the other one. Those are children. They didn't know anything. They couldn't even define harmony. I mean, come on. It's an interesting video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Alright, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Well, if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe and leave a like. And, hey, want some guitar lessons? I teach guitar. Email in the description. And, of course, head on down over to Ruden's Delight. Pick yourself up some merch. I sell those stickers. I sell these sweatshirts. I sell other stuff. Go check them out. And what else do we got? Of course, leave some comment questions if you want me to answer them in the chair during practice logs at some point. I do that. Check out my YouTube shorts if you want to listen to me piddle my way through some classical music. Not full performances, just little clips of me playing decently. We'll have performances soon, though, maybe. Probably not. I think that pretty much covers everything. Alright, well, I'll see you in the next one.